Hey, Kyle is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's Impact Wrestling from July 7th, 2022, and it's coming off of a really good event on Friday against All Odds. If you missed my review, I'll just give you a quick rundown of the results. The Motor City Machine Guns defeated Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay in a really, really good match. Chelsea Green and Diana Prazo defeated Mia Yim and Mickey James. So again, this is at Against All Odds. Mike Bailey successfully defended his Impact X Division title against Trey Miguel. Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie successfully defended their Impact Knockouts title against the Influence, but it was Giselle Shaw and Tennille Dashwood as the members in the match. In the 10-man tag team, America's Most Wanted, Heath and the Good Brothers defeated Honor No More, and Moose actually defeated Sami Callihan when Macklin came and hit Sami Callihan in the Clockwork House of Fun match. And Jordan Grace successfully defended the Impact Knockouts title against Tasha Steelz. And then in a really good main event, Josh Alexander defeated Joe Doring, handing Joe Doring his first Impact loss for the Impact World Title defense. Really good show, and I did watch BTI. I'm gonna add BTI to my. It was really fun to watch. I mean, as far as it showed me all the highlights from Against All Odds. Even though I watched it, since Friday I've watched like Money in the Bank, Raw, 3 New Japan shows, and all the AEW weekly stuff since then. So I was good refresher. They show a good amount of those matches. So if you missed the event, just go watch BTI on YouTube for free. You pretty much get to see the endings of all the big matches, and some matches have a few like 5 minutes worth. So Gia and Josh Matthews welcome us to BTI. They talk about Against All Odds, and then they show a really about 5 minutes of the ending of the Josh Alexander Joe Doring title match. That was really good. Then we're told that Alicia Edwards and Giselle Shaw will be the BTI match today. The BTI stands for Before the Impact, if you didn't know. Josh and Gia then talk about the Motor City Machine Guns and Bullet Club match, and then we get to see the last few minutes of that. And then we get to see the last few minutes of the Diana Prazo and Chelsea Green beating Mickey James and Mia Yim. And then we're told that tonight will be Mia Yim versus Diana Prazo, and that will be a number 1 contendership match. And it ended up being the main event, and it ended up being a really, really good match. So I'll get to that at the end, but that was great. Then we see a really, really good highlight package. Wasn't really a highlight package, but it picked up right when the X Division title match from Against All Odds was going crazy. So that was not really fun to watch between Mike Bailey and Trey Miguel, the highlights version. And then we get to see the very end of the Knockouts tag title match Against All Odds, where Masha Slamovich gave the envelope of doom, or whatever you want to call it, meaning she's now targeted to Tennille Dashwood of all people. So seemingly Giselle got the influencers wrapped up in this in her troubles with Masha. So that then they show the top 5 social media moments. It was the Trey Miguel Speedball Mike Bailey wild match. Then it was Mickey James' outfit at Against All Odds. Then it was Brian Myers winning the Digital Media Championship. That was actually on the pre-show. And then there was another good match on the pre-show, Laredo Kid versus Black Taurus. So 2 good pre-show matches. That one was Brian Myers defeating Rich Swann for the Digital Media Championship in a combat match. So there was a ton of items out there, like computers and keyboards, stuff like that. That was a fun match. And Brian Myers is the new Digital Media Champion. Then we saw Macklin number 2 was Macklin costing Sami Callihan the Monsters Ball match. Macklin was disguised as the cameraman with a mask on, and kind of almost played off of how everyone thought Claudio was the cameraman in AEW. That was pretty cool. So the number 1 social media moment of the week was the death sentence from AEW. Not AEW, but America's Most Wanted, AMW. The death sentence is their finisher, and they got to hit it to win the 10-man tag against Honor No More in a really good moment for a long time. We were seeing that back in like 2002 on TNA. So the Iceman Intel segment talks about how Taya and Rosemary got attacked from behind after winning the Knockouts tag title match against Giselle and the Influencers. Then the Influencers and Giselle attacked them, so they brought up, there's still no Havoc to come to their aid. And the rumor is Havoc is hanging out in the Darkness Realm, the Undead Realm, and if Rosemary wants her back, she'll have to go get her. So that got me excited, and we will find that whole segment next week. So they set it up this week so next week we're going to see some kind of cool segments about Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie going into the undead realm, whatever we're going to find there. So it's time for the BTI quick match here. It's in the arena already. Alicia Edwards coming out the pretty big cheers, and I know she's wearing blue and orange New York colors, so maybe that's a little subtle dig at Eddie, her husband, who she's kind of not happy that he's with Honor No More. And Eddie, big Boston guy, would hate all of the New York sports teams, and those are the New York colors. So that's pretty funny. Giselle Shaw comes out the half boos, half cheers, and Giselle takes control early in this match with a knee to the gut and then some loud chops to Alicia's chest. Those were pretty nasty. Alicia then reverses and hits some chops of her own, then some mounted corner punches. Alicia does a good job of getting the crowd to clap, and then hits a nice flatliner. And then we hear Alicia Edwards tell Giselle to reverse it really loudly. So then, of course, Giselle reverses the next move into a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to take control, despite her taking me out of the match there by yelling too loud. It was a nice move. Giselle then distracts the referee so the influencers can get a cheap shot on Alicia. Giselle now works on Alicia, but Alicia fights back. And holy crap, we get some big news here. You guys might have heard it. I always try to maintain spoiler free on Impact, but right here in BTI, Tom tells us that it will be opening Impact tonight with an X Division title match. Speedball Mike Bailey defending against a debuting Alan Angels. And I hadn't heard any of this news. You guys might have all heard it, but that was kind of shocking to me. And wow, just thinking about how good that match was going to be had me super excited for Impact all of a sudden. Or, I mean, way more than I was. So, and that match totally delivered. So that's going to be what we kick off Impact with shortly. Also, we're told it's going to be PCO versus Black Taurus, and that sounds like a really fun match. So, and that ends up being a good one. So back to this match, Alicia hits a nice move, but then gets her head caught on the rope by getting thrown out. That looked a little nasty and kind of botched, like a whiplash type effect, but she seemed all right. Alicia did. Influencers get more cheap shots in at that point. Giselle then gets the crowd to boo her big time, and both women did a good job of getting the crowd, working the crowd well. Alicia now fires up and hits some nice strikes, lays it on really hard on Giselle, and then Alicia reverses another tilt-a-whirl backbreaker attempt into a DDT of her own. A little sloppy, but that was a nice reversal. Giselle then gets back in control soon after and goes up to the top rope, but Alicia meets her up there and is looking to do a hurricanrana off the top, but Giselle reverses it into a power bomb, immediately coming off with a spinning Vader bomb. And I feel like Giselle definitely could have won there, but she then hits a nasty Shining Wizard to Alicia's face for the 1-2-3. The winner is by pinfall, the quintessential diva, Giselle Shaw. So nice little match there on BTI. But more importantly, the big news that we're going to start again with Alan Angels. I have to hold myself from not saying Alan Five Angels. I've been saying Alan Five Angels for so long now, but just Alan Angels, and he will be starting Impact here against Speedball Mike Bailey, who's been in. Speedball Mike Bailey's in my top 5 wrestlers of any company around the world throughout 2022 so far, and I'm really looking forward to that match does deliver. So. We're also told that Deonna Purrazzo, Mia Yim will be for the number 1 contendership, and like I said, that's a good one as well. It's the main event. So then BTI ends, and I noticed BTI ends 13 minutes after Impact starts on Access TV, which is where I always watch Impact. So I'm not quite sure why. The only thing I can guess is maybe that's when they start the YouTube version, and I think more people watch the YouTube version of Impact, where you have to pay to watch it on their Honor Club, or not Honor Club, but you know what I mean. So I think that's it, and then they can have both the Access TV and the YouTube one end at the same time. That's the only way I can think of, but yeah, BTI ends like 12-13 minutes after Impact already starts on Access TV, which is a little weird. But skipping through commercials, I was still able to get on the air here for right when Impact ended. Anyway, Impact starts with a recap of the Honor No More 10-man tag match that they lost at against all odds, and then they show a little bit of the Josh Alexander beating Joe Doring in the main event for the title. Great video package here, really well done. It hyped up Impact a lot. And then yeah, I'm super excited for this Allen 5 Angels debut. See, I said 5 and I knew I would, but against, like I said, a top 5 wrestler in the world, in my opinion, right now, Mike Bailey. So this is going to be amazing. Huge cheers for Alan Angels when he comes out. He's got some like punk pop sounding music. He's wearing a leather jacket and a key on his necklace, and on the back of his trunks it says underrated. So really cool to see Alan Angels just get on his feet right away from leaving his AEW contract. I think that just went into effect at the beginning of July, and his contract ran up. Alan 5 Angels refused to resign with AEW, thinking he could do better things elsewhere. And I like seeing him here in Impact for sure. So I was really jacked for this match. And yeah, Tom on commentary says, "Oh yeah, Alan 5 Angels, formerly of the Dark Order in AEW," and then Matt Ringwald says, "Oh yeah, Alan's no longer going to be in the back of a crowd." So a little slight dig there, where Alan Angels was definitely thrown in the back of a large, like 9 man Dark Order stable. He didn't really ever have a chance to stand out. He was Alan 5 Angels was mostly relegated to the Dark and Dark Elevation shows, meaning I still got to watch him, but I know like every other podcaster out there is like, "Oh yeah, Dark and Dark Elevation, those are just YouTube shows. I don't watch those. I don't Why would I watch those? Because you're a fan of the product and you're a fan of AEW. Why wouldn't you watch those? Those are like just as important as stuff you see on Dynamite and stuff. It's all the same story. But this isn't an AEW uh review, but I'm just saying that what I'm trying to get at is Alan 5 Angels has been amazing on those Dark and Dark Elevations for a long time now. So adding him to the Impact roster is a great thing, and especially this X Division, which was already heating up, getting back to almost in its prime X Division. Maybe not with the characters like we got out of the Kevin Nash stuff and whatnot, but as far as pure talent in the ring, it's really happening over here in Impact, and led by one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world, Speedball Mike Bailey. So great stuff going on, and I could see more and more X Division guys coming in the future, maybe a Blake Christensen or something like that in the future, just to even make this more insane. So let's get to this match. But yeah, I'm so excited for this and the future. Matt says, "Oh yeah, not only is he not in the back of a crowd anymore, his first match here in Impact will be a title match." So Speedball comes out, and instantly this has a big fight feel. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Alan Angels for the X Division title. This is going to be a good one. So let me have a drink first, because this has a lot of action. But definitely go find this match. All right, let's start us off. So we get loud dueling chants for both men, back and forth. The crowd's loving this. They shake hands at the beginning, but I keep saying 5. Alan Angels slaps Mike Bailey hard in the face right after the shake of the hands. And what a good decision that was. Even if Alan Angels isn't going to be a heel, that instantly puts some heat on this match. And yeah, it starts out with fire, with some amazing counter wrestling, really quick counter wrestling and quick lucha moves here at the beginning. Mike hits a big kick to start us off, and then rapid kicks, and then one big kick right after that. So big kicking combos to start us off by Mike Bailey. We get a speedball chant, and then Mike hits a nice springboard moonsault, a little bit off target, but still beautifully done in the air. But then soon after, Alan Angels blocks a punch and hits a Uranagi onto the apron. This has Mike hurt, and Alan mockingly does the speedball bow, and that was pretty funny. So Alan definitely taking over a heel role in this match, but it looks like spoiler alert, Alan Angels will be a face going forward. But it was good for him to play a little bit of heelish in this match, give it a little bit of flavor, and I like that. And he shows that he's not afraid or not to ruffle a little feathers, even if he is going to be a baby face going forward. So anyway, right after that Uranagi, that's when I saw the Alan Angels tights say underrated, which yeah, he probably definitely has been underrated, especially in the AEW office that never wanted to use him. But it was tough. There's so many people on that damn roster. So Allen has control and slows the match down a little bit after that crazy opening. Hits some chops. Then Allen counters a comeback attempt with a chop and a Northern Light suplex to stay in control. So Allen goes up top and jumps right into a big karate kick to the face. The kick was great, but the jump from Allen Five Angels was never going to hit anything. So that looked a little bit dumb. Took me a tiny bit out of the match, but that's really the only kind of botch you can even, or not botch, but complaints you could have about this match. So Speedball then hits a standing Phoenix Splash. Just insane that anyone can do that. Allen then stops his top rope move and hits some nice quick offense, but Speedball shows his agility to evade a couple more attacks. Speedball then hits a running Spanish fly. This always, again, looks amazing, but Speedball hurts his shoulder on that move, so they end up getting up at the same time instead of him being able to capitalize, him being Mike. And they exchange forearms now and then chops. Mike wins this exchange after some rapid chops. Mike then counters two moves in a row, but then eats a big forearm from Allen. Great match so far. Allen then has Mike up on his shoulders and spins around, hitting a Halo Breaker. It's a spinning TKO, and that gets like a 2.8 count. Great move there. And dueling chants for both men from the crowd again. Allen then tries a wing snapper, which is his finisher for the second time he's tried the wing snapper now, but Mike counters it with a really cool pin, and then they counter pin each other for a while. No 3 counts, however. The Flamingo driver is now attempted by Mike Bailey, but that's countered into a wing snapper from Allen Angels. Go watch this match. Just the counterattack, quick paced in this match is amazing. But it's still not over after that wing snapper. Mike Bailey kicks out. Then Mike avoids another move and hits a spinning kick right into an ultimate weapon, the flipping knee stomp for the 1-2-3. Wow, what a crazy finish here. And your winner and still X Division champion is Speedball Mike Bailey. That match completely delivered. Speedball Mike Bailey delivers every single time he goes out there, no matter what company it is, no matter who he's against. Every single match I watch of Speedball Mike Bailey delivers. What a wrestler. I love the guy. Allen Five Angels also delivered in this match. I'll eventually stop calling him Five. And great debut here. I don't think he's hurt in the loss whatsoever. Everyone knows what kind of run Speedball's on, where they kind of, I think the crowd and everybody believes Speedball could definitely take Josh Alexander, or at least give a really competitive match for the Impact title right now. So Speedball wants to shake hands after the match, and Allen Angels does shake the hand. So it looks like Allen will be a face going forward, maybe a face with some with an edge, which is always perfect. I hate squeaky clean baby faces. So right on cue, just to establish the fact that Allen's a face, we have Cody Deaner and Joe Doring rush out. They attack both men. It doesn't seem like this is going to lead to a feud between these guys. They were just Speedball and Allen Angels were unfortunately in the wrong place in the wrong time. So Deaner hits a massive, just nasty looking lariat and on Allen Angels. Again, Allen Angels showing that not only does he have really flashy moves, but he can take moves like just as good as anybody else in the entire world, because he made that Joe Deaner lariat look like $1,000,000. That was awesome. So right after that, an assisted shoulder tackle to Speedball, and then a DDT by Deaner on the Speedball takes both X Division men out. After their grueling match, they were already kind of on maybe their health was at like 10-15% as it was. So Deaner yells on the mic, and he's like, Josh Alexander, this isn't over until we say it's over. Come out to this ring right now. And then instead of Josh Alexander, we get the Violent by Design music hits, and Eric Young, who has been missing ever since losing at Slammiversary's main event. Eric Young saunters slowly out to the stage, and when Deaner was yelling that just a second ago, he was sounding exactly like Eric Young. And remember, 2 weeks ago on Impact, Deaner was acting like he's the new leader of Violent by Design. So this should definitely be interesting. But we go to an ad break before that, so I'm gonna have another drink. But wow, what a match between Allen Angels and Speedball. Welcome to Impact, Allen Angels. And if you don't know Allen Angels, he's young. He's like 24, and he's already really, really good in season. So this is a guy you could build a company around in 5 years. I think he might have that kind of potential where the crowd is going to get behind him as well. And I don't think he's not like super big, but he's not super small either, kind of deal, where he could be a heavyweight wrestler at a point. So remember, Eric Young had just sauntered out to the ring, and we come back from ad break. EY's now in the ring. He's got a microphone of his own, and Eric says, "What happened? How did we end up here? This was not designed by me. I'm the designer." And then Diener says, "Well, we thought this is what you would want. We know you wanted to bring the title to the family, and then when you couldn't, we figured Joe could." And this makes EY a little mad. And EY says, "Well, how did that go? Under my watch, Joe was undefeated. He was one of the most feared men in wrestling, and now look at you. It's clear that the sickness has taken hold of both of you. I thought you were better than these diseased people. They're worthless, just like everyone back there. Now I'm stuck with a difficult decision. Maybe I should purge you both." So Diener says, "No, no, no, no. We see the truth. You're the designer. Give us a chance to prove that to you that we can make this right." So Eric says, "Okay, but this needs to be clear," Eric says, and he says, "You have to have no doubt that this world belongs to me." So Eric Young leaves on his own, the big booze, and pretty interesting stuff here. I like the storyline where it's going. So we get a little advertisement. Emergence is going to be the next big event on August 12th from Chicago. And then the winner of tonight's Mia Yim versus Deonna Purrazzo #1 contendership match will go to Emergence for the Knockouts title. Also tonight will be Laredo Kid versus Trey Miguel, we're now told, which, damn, that sounds like another good match. And PCO versus Black Taurus, which we found out on BTI, which also sounds insane. So in the back now, Honor No More are all together. Mike Bennett says that we're all bound by circumstance. We get screwed over time and time again. Impact doesn't want us here to spread our message. Kenny King says we are the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and that's why Impact doesn't like it. They don't deserve us. They haven't stopped us, and they can't stop us. So Maria says we've survived setbacks, but we can't tolerate failure anymore. Then Eddie Edwards says we have to make a tough decision. So pause right there. Back-to-back segments with heel stables saying they have to make tough decisions. Could you have not at least broken this up with one other segment? How are you literally going to go back-to-back segments with heel stables saying we have to make a tough decision on if we keep someone in the group or not? That's ridiculous. I understand it happens, and it's not like if this was all real, it could happen. It's not like out of the realm of possibility. But since it's not real, just split it up, split it apart. At least put another match in between the two. So that wasn't very good, whoever planned the show out. But anyway, let's go back to this because I mean, I'm not saying this story isn't ridiculous because they're, of course, talking about PCO. They've been hesitant about PCO ever since he's been reanimated. Vincent's been vouching for PCO this whole time. And at this point, it seems like they're kind of exchanged with Vincent as well. So maybe Vincent and PCO are both looked at the same. So Eddie, like I said, he says, we'll have to make a tough decision. PCO, you will have a tough decision to make. How much do you truly believe in our message? So PCO yells, listen, but Eddie sounded like Max Caster. But Eddie's insists or interrupts PCO and says, no, you listen. Failure is no longer an option. And we go in an ad break. So like I said, totally ridiculous to not have those two segments back to back where they were like, we have a decision to make, but it is what it is. What's done is done. In the back after the ad break, Gia is with Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green. Deonna's saying that who does Mia think she is, that she can just attack me? She just wanted to be relevant. I'll show you what happens when you mess with the virtuoso. Chelsea says, like, I'll have your back too. I'll be there for you. Gail Kim then walks in and says, first off, I love you guys as a tag team, and I love when women have each other's back. But next week it'll be Chelsea versus Mickie James, and everyone is banned from ringside in both that match and tonight's match against Mia Yim. So Gail Kim sensing that shenanigans were going to happen for sure, so she banned. She didn't say what would happen if the ban. I guess you would be suspended, but that probably should have. There probably should have been some kind of threat from management if what happens if I, because you're never supposed to cheat, so what makes this different than any other occurrence? So you can save that by just simply having Gail Kim say, oh yeah, you're both banned from both of these matches, and if you interfere, you're suspended without pay for 60 days or something like that. There has to be some kind of threat leveraged. Otherwise, why? What the heck? They're not champions. Like, maybe you could say, oh, you're not going to be number one contender, but at least say that out loud. Say you're all banned, or none of you are going to get a title shot for a year. Like, there has to be some kind of threat. So again, just nitpicking, but these are things. If anyone from Impact's watching, just um I'm available. But yeah, of course, Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea are mad at this news because, of course, their plan was to help each other win their matches. So now we go back to the arena. Laredo Kid's coming out. He's getting some pretty good cheers from the crowd. Trey Miguel makes his really cool tagging entrance. Really good cheers for him as well. This X division is hot. This X division is great, man. Just adding Alan Angels to it, it just makes it even better, bro. I think it's really deep. I think they've got a lot of promise. I think you could even add a tag, basically a, how like junior to heavyweight tag titles are in Japan that go along with the heavyweight tag titles. I think they could add a X division tag title. I know, like, some people say there's too many titles in wrestling as it is, but screw it. If you want to have three separate divisions, you have your women's division, you have the knockouts division, the X division, and the everybody else. They don't really have a name, but um, give them all one singles title and one tag title to go for in each of those three divisions. I think that would be preferable. And I think you're only like I said, you sign like a Blake Christensen and maybe two other guys, and you've got yourself enough for. You could probably, I know some people might not want to bring Zach Wentz back in, but you could reform the Rascals and they could be like your first ever X Division tag champions and stuff like that. So I think it's a good idea. Let's see if anyone else, write in the comments if what are your opinions on that, because I don't ever hear anybody talking about that, but I think that would be a good idea. So yeah, so again, this is going to be Laredo Kid versus Trey Miguel. Trey comes out limping heavily and his knee is wrapped up. So the Trey's match versus Speedball for the X Division title at Against All Odds definitely took a lot out of him. And Tom says this is a big match since Speedball Mike Bailey is such a fighting champion. Any win at any point could get you in line for the next title shot. So Tom bringing up a great point there with a champion that's willing to fight all the time. Every win really truly matters so that you can be next in line for that title shot. Great stuff here. And again, why the X Division is great right now. The match starts super fast, of course, and they dodge all the attacks at the beginning with really good agility. Then they stand off and slow down to some grappling, and Trey wins the little exchange by catching Laredo's kick. Then terribly contrived and fake looking counter comes next. Laredo Kid's on the ground. Trey Miguel runs behind him. Laredo's like in a sitting position. Trey Miguel looks like he's going to try like a kick where it would kick Laredo in the face. Remember, he's running from behind. And so Trey like puts his leg there for the kick, and then like 2 full seconds pass, maybe just 1 second, but it was so long before the kick. And then he could have clearly just kicked him in the face, but then he just leaves his leg there waiting for Laredo to grab it. It was terrible looking and took me out of the match for sure. So I don't know whose fault that is necessarily, but maybe just don't try something like that if it's going to be too risky. I don't know. Anyway, still a good match overall, but that was ridiculous. But Laredo counters, of course, like I just said, it was contrived, but he counters, and this hurts Trey's knee when he caught the leg. Trey then tries the springboard outside the a little bit after that outside or springboard to the outside, but his knee was too hurt. So then Trey switches it to a one-legged springboard moonsault, and that hits Laredo Kid on the outside as we go to an ad break. When we come back, Laredo Kid has a one-legged Boston Crab on Trey's bad knee. Trey then gets to the ropes, but's now in real big trouble. He was limping before he even got into the match, remember. They showed during the break Laredo drop kicked that bad knee, and that's how he got in big time control. Trey then goes up to the top, but Laredo stops him and hits the knee yet again. Then Laredo locks in a figure four, but Trey Miguel just quickly gets to the ropes. A little too quickly for my liking. Milk that spot for a little bit longer. Come on. Maybe even do the reversal where you roll over. Like, what's the point of the lock if you get out of it 2 seconds later? Anyway, it did show that, I guess in their mind they wanted to show that it was desperate. Like, Trey was either going to have to tap within a couple seconds or get to the rope. So I get what they're saying there, and that makes sense, I guess. Trey, we're told, has only lost 2 singles matches since March 2021, which I didn't fact check that, but that sounds insane. Trey then hits a missile drop kick off the top rope. Both men kip up, and Trey did it one-legged. That was awesome looking. Then Trey hits a one-legged stomp for a 2 count. And remember, Trey's main finisher is the Meteora, and he's like basically can't do it. So keep that in mind. So Trey then hits the Hurricane like slam. It was awesome looking for a 2 count. Both men are at their limit now. They're just both tired. Trey fires up the crowd and himself, goes up to the top, but just simply falls. His knee is too hurt. Then Laredo hits a Michinoku driver that gets all of it. It looked great. That was nasty. Somehow Trey kicks out at 2.9. Laredo can't believe it. I barely can either. They counter each other tremendously quick here, and Trey hits the crossroads of all things for the 1-2-3. The winner is Trey Miguel by pinfall. And again, Trey couldn't use the Meteora that he normally finishes people off, and he, after some great countering, hits a nasty looking crossroads. So, great stuff. Other than that, really superly contrived counter early in the match. Everything else was pretty much picture perfect, and I like all the selling. A lot of people, when there's like an injury that they're working in a match, will start like just act like it's fine so that they can hit their moves. But here Trey Miguel's hitting all these moves that are one-legged based. So props to that. Like, not a lot of wrestlers do that, and that really pisses me off when that happens. Why am I going to sit here and watch you work over a body part for 3, 4, 5 minutes for you to just use that body part for moves later on? So I like this here. This is really good. So up on that contrived spot didn't take me away from it. So we're told uh this was a little weird. This was awkward, but we're told next month, or this whole next month, we'll look at Ric Flair's best impact moments, and this is because they want to advertise Ric Flair's last match. If you haven't heard about this whole event, we don't even know who Ric Flair is fighting yet, as far as I know, but they've added a lot of people to this card. Like, there's some really good looking matches on this card, including Josh Alexander defending his Impact title. I can't remember right now who it's against, but there's also another match with the Motor City Machine Guns, and again, I can't remember who they're against, but I just remember both of those matches being really good. So apologies for not looking that up, but yeah, we're told we're gonna see Ric Flair's best impact moments, so they can advertise that, and we go to our first moment here. So pretty hilariously, right when it starts, you can hear Tara's old music, broken. Like, that was hilarious. Then a white limo pulls up. So this is Ric Flair's debut. And then we go to the ring, and it's AJ Styles and Kurt Angle in the heat of the match. And Kurt Angle's about to make AJ Styles tap, but then Ric Flair comes out, and that's all we see. So just really quick here. It was kind of funny. Now in the back, Cody Deaner and Joe are mad. They're assaulting a guy and asking where Josh Alexander is. Gigi's now yelling for security, and the Motor City Machine Guns are then the next ones in their path. So the Motor City Machine Guns, or Sabin, I think, asks, what's your guys' problem? So Deaner and Doring just attack the Motor City Machine Guns. Then security and Josh Alexander show up, but security keeps everyone apart. And then we go to an ad break. So that was interesting. That will set up a 6-man tag match between all 6 of these guys next week, which should be pretty good. And the 6th one is Eric Young, if you're wondering. So then okay, so this was the other big news other than Alan Angels. This was the other big news coming out of tonight. So I kind of heard that we're going to see something about a debuting Knockout. So here we go. We come back and it's a vignette for that debuting knockout because we see a woman. We're not quite sure who it is yet. We also see a rundown So stick with me on this. This is kind of ridiculous, but stick with me. We see an old rundown motel and then a woman's face through the window. Now, my first thought, I thought it was Allie Katch, but it is not her. So then there's creepy like whispering spirits in the background while we're watching this. And then we see this woman walking down the street from behind. She's got a backpack. Then we see her. She's got medium to short length, bright red hair. And now I can tell it is Killer Kelly. Killer Kelly's pretty good. She's got an MMA background. She's Portuguese descent, but I think she speaks like perfect English, And Killer Kelly is going to be a great addition to this knockouts division for sure. She's going to bring some hard hitting um, realism, some like a Killer Kelly Deonna Purrazzo match sounds amazing. So, but yeah, it looks like she's got a pretty ridiculous gimmick. So remember, we've seen a rundown motel, whispering spirits. She's in the night with a backpack, and now, like I said, we can see her face, and she says that she likes to be alone. She likes the smell of an old, dirty motel. It comforts her and reminds her of that place. Weird as hell. So now some like music plays. It's more like cheery. It's kind of like swing, almost like you would hear in like I don't know. It's almost out of Fallout kind of like music, old timey. And then she says, um, "It's only when you've lost everything that you're willing to do anything." And then she goes, "And I mean anything." And at this point, we only see her feet as she takes her clothes off in a bathroom. And then it fades to black, and the name Killer Kelly appears, and then it says coming soon. So hold the phone. First of all, like I said, I like having Killer Kelly in the knockouts division. That's a plus. But what did I just witness? Does that sound like exactly what it sounds like to you? Now I want to say this, the YouTube friendly version, but it certainly seems to me like her gimmick is she is a lady of the night, who hangs around seedy motels and is willing to do anything, and I mean anything. I I mean, it's definitely different. So I'm always the kind of guy that likes different things. Hopefully Killer Kelly's okay with this. I know that like a lot of people with the within the SW industry would say like, "Oh, we're not bad people, like we're not blah blah blah." But those are people that choose to be SWs. I hope Killer Kelly wasn't brought in and told the only reason that we want you is because we need someone for an SW gimmick. And maybe Killer Kelly needed the money and she's not necessarily um sh so hmm, I guess she could always say no, but it's always tricky because she might just really need the money. And this is I've known Killer Kelly's name for a while. We've seen her in ROH and stuff like that, but I have not heard Killer Kelly's name for a long time now. I think she's been over in Germany for XWX and doing a lot of good things there, but I don't know how much money she's bringing in. So I'm just throwing it out there. First of all, I don't mind that. I'm okay and willing to go along with a Lady of the Night gimmick like it looks like. I just hope that she didn't have to be forced into having a SW um gimmick when she didn't really want to. Now everybody knows that wrestling's fake, but it's still kind of might tarnish your reputation if that's something that would affect you. Like I said, a lot of people in the SW industry would say like, "Oh, it's not bad," and stuff like that. So just think of that when we go through. I wouldn't complain. Don't tweet Killer Kelly what the heck's going on. And I'm sure probably wasn't her choice, wasn't her first choice for a gimmick. So let's just see, let this play out. But yes, Killer Kelly will debut soon, and it looks like she has an SW gimmick. So in the back, which is ridiculous. In the back, Gia's with America's Most Wanted, Cowboy James Storm, and Wildcat Chris Harris. And Storm says, "We didn't know we were going to get reunited." But Harris says, "It was a special moment that I'll never forget. All the stuff left in the basement, I got out of me. And for it to happen in an Impact ring, I couldn't ask for more. If this was the last ride, well, then this is how I would want to go out." So hopefully that was the last time we see Chris Harris. I think Don't quote me on this, but I think Chris Harris has had some health problems. So it, you don't really. It's just like with the Ric Flair thing. Even though Chris Harris is a lot younger, it's always kind of rough to see people that had health problems and then get back in the ring, even if it is only for like a couple spots here and there. But that was good to see. I was glad to see them hit the um, last rites, or that's not the right, the death penalty or whatever, and that was really cool. So hopefully that was the last one. But Storm now is talking about his own career going forward, and he says, "You never know when or where I'll show up. I've got some business to attend to," and leaves. So this is really weird. So now we get like a camera. It's as if like we're not supposed to be seeing this, but here we are seeing it. And Storm walks into a room, and Macklin is inside. And Storm says, "What the hell are you doing here? Where's your boy Moose?" Macklin says, "Well, what makes you think you can come in here and ask all these questions? I thought you retired at Against All Odds." And Storm says, "No, I'm far from retired, and I'll take you on next week." So I don't know. Was Storm doing something shady here, or was it just like it was tough to tell if this was just Storm running into Macklin or if Storm was doing something shady and was surprised to see Macklin while doing something shady. So I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see though. That match will take place next week. Macklin versus Storm should be a good one. Um, so now it's time for the pretty insane match: PCO versus Black Taurus. PCO comes out with Vincent, and the crowd's chanting PCO already. This guy is insane. He's like in his 50s. I've been watching PCO pretty much the entire 30 years of me watching wrestling. And when I say that, I mean I saw him 30 years ago almost, and I haven't seen him. There was like a 15-year, 20-year gap where I never saw him, and then he came out of like I don't know where he was, probably up in Canada in Montreal in the Indies, but pretty crazy that he's like going all nuts now at his advanced age. So the lights go out, the K's iconic theme music hits, and Black Taurus comes out with Crazy Steve. And if I didn't mention, Vincent is out with PCO. So I read a quick note here. If Rosemary's like all hands on deck, why hasn't Black Taurus and Crazy? I can't quite remember the last if there's like trouble between Rosemary and Crazy Steve and Black Taurus, but they all come out to the Decay music and stuff. So it seems like Rosemary would want their help, and why aren't they helping her? She needs to go into the Nether realm or whatever it is to go find Havoc when Black Taurus and Crazy Steve are like just doing nothing over here. So the announcers have been mentioning all night that this is a match, PCO versus Black Taurus, that they didn't know they wanted until they saw it announced. And yeah, no lies detected in that statement. I wouldn't have been this wouldn't have been a match I would like a dream match or something, but as soon as soon as you see it announced, you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's gonna be a great match. And it ends up being a really good one. So let's get into it. They start with a collar and elbow and then a test of strength with shoulder tackles. Of course, they're almost exactly the same size. Maybe Taurus has a little bit of a size advantage, but it's hard to tell. Taurus gets control early with a big kick and a chop block. Big Taurus chant, but then PCO's chanted too. So both men are getting chants here. Taurus then slaps the taste out of PCO's mouth. That was super loud. Then they counter each other a few times until PCO throws Taurus out of the ring. PCO then throws him back in the ring and then clotheslines Taurus over the outside. Vincent was telling PCO something during that. PCO then, like I said, tackles Taurus over the top rope to the other side, and then the 50-something-year-old PCO hits a tope con hero through the middle ropes. It was insane looking. PCO hit it perfectly and completely crushed Taurus. That was amazing. PCO then goes up to the top rope over the draping as he drapes Taurus over the apron and hits a nasty looking deanimator. It was so nasty that the crowd actually went silent for a second from the shock of it all. Really good stuff. Taurus then kicks the camera, getting his foot on the rope to break up a pin. That was kind of funny. Taurus then turns it around with two sling blades, the first one inverted, the second one normal, and then fires himself up and goes up to the top rope, and Taurus hits a nice elbow drop. But it apparently was with the injured arm, and Taurus sells it. I didn't notice an arm injury or any working on the arm, but apparently there was at some point. Taurus then goes back to the top and tries to hit the Whisper in the wind, the corkscrew senton, but misses. And PCO then hits a reverse DDT and goes up to the top himself. PCO hits a moonsault, but Taurus was really, really far away, so PCO's only the knees of PCO got the impact, which kind of looked nasty. Hopefully that didn't hurt Taurus too much. But this gets the 1-2-3, and that was pretty nasty. So maybe they did it on purpose because they wanted the knees to hit. I don't know, but either way, that was kind of devastating looking and worthy of a finish. So like I said, your winner is PCO by pinfall. Now the rest of Honor No More come out right away to congratulate PCO because he was looking like a monster in that match. And Taven, I noticed, has like pastel purple button-down shirt with matching shorts, looking ridiculous. Then out of nowhere, Heath comes in and hits his finisher on Kenny King. Then Heath immediately runs away through the crowd as the crowd's chanting Heath. So Heath taken out. Apparently, the Heath will be the Honor No More hunter going forward. We'll see if he can have any better luck than the elite hunter, Frankie Kazarian, over in AEW. So after that, that was the end of that segment. In the back, watching all that, what just went down on the TV is the four people in Bullet Club that are on Impact. So it's the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, with Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And they say, every time we're in the ring with Honor No More, we eat good. So Ace says, well, you guys might have handled your business with Honor No More, but it's time for me to get involved in business. And this was a really funny segment. They were like, had really great chemistry between the four of them. And this brings me back to a point I brought up. I can't remember when, either last week's Impact or Against All Odds, where I said, I know Alex Zane wanted revenge on Ace Austin, but that was done on Impact. So why the heck, like, even though Motor City Machine Guns versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay at Against All Odds was really good and a really fun match, it kind of made no sense that the Good Brothers wouldn't recruit Ace Austin and Chris Bay, especially when they needed to find two members and they were like struggling to find two more members to join their team. And like, it's not like Motor City Machine Guns versus Ace and Bay was for anything, and it wasn't really a rivalry. I mean, other than your normal like stuff that, like, it didn't it made no sense. But now apparently the full four Bullet Club members will fight Honor No More next week. And I can't remember. I think it's an 8-man tag because there's only four of them, and and they announced that for next week. But I don't think we know which members of Honor No More will be in that match yet. And maybe we'll get more of the PCO Vincent stuff. Maybe they'll get kicked out or turn on them. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But that should be interesting. And like I said, these four guys in Bullet Club have some great chemistry. I would love to see more segments of them just doing whatever on Impact, multiple segments on Impact. So a night. That would be great. They have that good of chemistry. So now after an ad break, we see Brian Myers holding on to his newly won Digital Media Championship. He's walking around making fun of a crew member, and then he runs into Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice. And Swinger thinks Brian's here to give him a title shot. Brian says, good luck with this guy, pointing over the Zicky Dice. Remember, Zicky Dice was part of the oh god, what were they called? But they were just like the trainees of Brian Myers. So that was pretty funny. Then Brian goes right off of that and runs into Gujar, who wants a title shot as well. So Brian sets up a match between Gujar and Johnny Swinger, and the winner of that will get a title shot at the digital media title. So out next is Shira, and he's with Raj Singh. And we see the recap of Against All Odds, where Shira stepped up to Rich Swann, but Rich Swann didn't back up whatsoever and said it's big game hunting season. So that set up this match. Now Rich Swann comes out to kind of minimal cheers, not as many cheers as a lot of the other baby faces tonight. So that was a little weird. But Shira comes out, and he came out first. But Shira has the massive speed advantage. I mean, massive size and strength advantage, while Swann massive speed and strength, speed and agility advantage. So Swann then rolls around to evade attacks right at the beginning, but then gets caught. Swann tries a couple punches, but this doesn't affect Shira whatsoever, showing that Swann's striking isn't going to be worth a damn in this match. Then Shira throws Swann around like he's nothing. Shira's putting the boots and trying to wear Swann down, choking him on the ropes, different things. This gets big boos from the crowd. Shira's now yelling at the crowd and pulls Swann up by his hair. That looked painful. Shira's now Shira threatens Swann's life in this match. I don't know what he did to him, but Shira's really not a fan of Swann. Shira hits a big forearm that knocks Swann down. Then a giant Beal but then Swan's able to dodge the next attack, and Swan hits a massive 619 right after that, and then does a flip dive on the Raj Singh, and Swan hits a 7 ridiculously massive kicks in a row to Shira's head, and a 450 splash off the middle rope for the 1-2-3. So your winner is Rich Swann by pinfall, and wow, what a flurry at that end of that match. Really great to watch that flurry, and perfectly short match here. Did we really want Shira in any longer of a match than that? So I thought that match was really good. Didn't take much time up off the card. And yeah, I don't want Shira to be pushed, so I'm fine with him losing in a quick match here. And it was really fun to watch Swan just destroy him at the end really quickly. So now we go to the back, and Tennille is questioning Giselle about that threat from Masha Slamovich, if you remember. Giselle's like taking it lightly, but the influencers say, no, come on, this is serious. And no joke, Giselle just calmly says, well, this means that Masha will end your life. And Tennille freaks out, understandably so, and we go to an ad break. So that's pretty funny. What we can get out of this is Giselle just came into the influencers so that she could try and find other people for Masha the target instead of her, kind of deal. But of course, I'm assuming Masha will still go after Giselle after she's done taking out Tennille, and maybe not maybe, hopefully she takes out Madison Rayne forever. In the back, and after an ad break, in the back, Taya Valkyrie is totally calm, but Rosemary's pacing around, and Rosemary says, "Yeah, we're still champions, but at what cost? We should have had the numbers. All hands on deck," I said. "We can't rely on that, Father James Mitchell. I'm gonna have to go in the darkness realm by myself." So Taya says, "No, we have to go." Rosemary then says, "No, you can't go to the undead realm." But Taya insists and says, "What's done in the past is over with. I'm with you 100%. Let me go with you." So Rosemary says, "Fine. Next week we'll go find Havoc in the undead realm." So that sounds pretty cool. I still don't trust Taya at all. I always think of Taya should never be a baby face. Taya is a natural heel to me, and I always want to boo Taya. So that might just be me, but I also, just storyline based, it seems like it's weird for Taya to be this interested. Maybe Taya wants something inside of the. Maybe she's just using this as a way to get into the undead realm, and do something nefarious herself. So I can't wait for next week. Like Rosemary said, they're going to go into the undead realm next week to go find Havoc, and I'm excited. Hopefully, we get like 4 or 5 segments, but at least 3 different segments throughout next week's Impact. That would be amazing, and hopefully, it's reminiscent of like all the Hardy stuff, all the Broken Matt stuff. So also next week they run down what we're gonna get. It'll be the Chelsea Green Mickey James match with everyone banned. It'll also be Macklin versus Storm, and Tennille is gonna fight Masha Slamovich next week. So that should be interesting. Janelle just said that she's gonna end Tennille's life, so that'll be interesting to see if that happens. And then the next week's main event will be the Honor No More versus Bullet Club tag match. I'm still not quite sure which members of Honor No More will be in that match. But all that'll be the main event. But starting Impact next week will be Violent by Design versus Josh Alexander and the Motor City Machine Guns, and that should be a pretty good match. So next week's Impact sounds good. You got all those matches with interspliced with Taya and Rosemary going into the undead realm. So really looking forward to next week's Impact. And maybe we can get a promo from Alan Angels as well. I'd like to hear what's on his mind. So tonight's main event is now. Let me get a quick drink. Really good main event here. Shout out to Deanna and Mia. All right, so Deanna comes out looking like an absolute star, looking like a queen. She looks mad. She can't have Chelsea's help, but she's not scared. She still looks full of confidence. Mia Yim's super great entrance is next. Love that entrance. The crowd chants Mia, and Mia looks like a star too. So great stuff. 2 women that look like a star. We go to an ad break before the match starts, but when we come back, Mia's still dancing in the ring for her entrance, so we didn't miss the opening. And when the bell rings, huge Mia chance breakout. And Deanna's definitely playing her role as a heel well. There's not many chants for her. We hear a few later on, but it's good that So that means she's doing a good job at getting people to not like her. This rivalry goes back all the way to the Under Siege event, if you remember, and we get a really long standoff to start this match that breaks down into a shoving exchange, and there's definitely some bad blood in this match for sure, which really elevates this match. A great, great match. Mia counters Diana and then hits a shoulder tackle for the first shot of the match. Then they stand off again. Really big fight feel for this one. It's, and don't forget, a number one contendership match, and they'll fight Jordynne Grace at uh Resurgence. I don't think that's the right word, but whatever the next event is, I think it might be Resurgence. Diana works a headlock now, but Mia gets out and hits an arm drag. Diana tries to outsmart Mia going out of the ring, but just eats two boots to the face instead. Mia then dives out of the ring onto Diana. Good start. And Tom's putting over how happy Mia is to have her freedom back here in Impact. As far as like streaming and stuff like that is what he kind of meant. Bunch of pinning combos next. Mia stays in control and hits a really nice looking head scissors takeover. I've seen a lot of head scissors takeovers recently that looked like trash. Mia Yim and Deonna Purrazzo. It's a two. It definitely takes two to make a head scissors takeover look good, and they did really well on that one. So props to these ladies. Deonna then grabs one leg on the next move to take control, and then snaps viciously Mia Yim's arm back, just like how Pentagon used to break arms on Lucha Underground. As we go to an ad break, and when we come back, Deonna's working over that same arm now. Big shots to the arm, has Mia in all kinds of trouble, but she kicks out of a pin. The crowd's rallying big time, almost 100%, 95% behind Mia here. Couple virtuoso chants, though. Mia then strikes her way out of a hold, and they both seeming. It's kind of hard to see what happened. They kind of said Mia did the headbutt, but it almost looked like they both headbutted each other at the same time. And it looks they sold this really well. It looks like they were like both unconscious. So the referee starts his count for maybe a double count out. And before he gets to 10, both get up. Mia gets control with some drop kicks. Great match here. And then a cannonball senton into the corner by Mia gets her a 2 count. Mia then hits eat the feet, and Deonna is then able to roll out of the ring before the cover. So Deonna then blocks a package pile driver attempt and hits a big boot to Mia's face for a 2 count of her own. The crowd's super rallying behind Mia, and Deonna mentions that she wants to end this match, but the Queen's Gambit is blocked by Mia. Mia then goes to the top rope, but Deonna slaps her and throws Mia off the top rope onto her back. Great stuff. Mia dodges a corner spear, sending Deonna right into the ring post, and Mia hits the nasty fluid looking code blue for the 2.9 count. The crowd goes completely silent and then starts to chant for Mia, but the crowd was stunned that she didn't win that match right there, and they're a little bit worried that having Deonna kick out of that means that they're not going to have Mia win. So we'll have to see if they're right. Now a forearm exchange breaks out, and then it breaks completely down into a hockey fight. Great stuff here, showing so much fire. Mia wins this exchange, but Deonna soon counters. Mia counters back, and then another counter by Deonna. Great stuff. Mia eventually hits a big boot, but Deonna counters the next move into a Fujiwara armbar on that bad arm of Mia. But Mia's able to get out of this, and Deonna hits the Queen's Gambit. I thought it was over here. Mia's able to kick out at 2.9, and the crowd goes absolutely crazy. Remember, on the code blue, they went completely silent because they thought that means Deonna's going to win, but now they have hope. And the crowd's really rallying, striking exchange again, but Mia Yim lifts up Deonna for a power bomb, hits it right into a package pile driver, but somehow Deonna kicks out, and now the crowd is mad. They're chanting, "What the F?" And then they chant, "That was 3," and it breaks out into another hockey fight. The crowd is just salivatingly mad now, but both are too tired after that hockey fight. Deonna's the first to fire up with a chop, but that just fires up Mia Yim. We get rapid kicks to Deonna's face now. Mia hits the package pile driver for a second time, but instead of going for the cover, hits eat the feet for the 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes crazy. They had the crowd in the palm of their hand, let me tell you. Your winner and number one contender for the Knockouts title is Mia Yim. what a match. It relied a little bit on kicking out of finishers for my taste, but I have no complaints when you have the crowd that much in the palm of your hands, and I can't hate on that whatsoever. Great watch here, great main event. Before we can go off the air, Jordan Grace's music hits, and she comes out looking amazing, let me tell you. She shakes Mia Yim's hand, and it will be Mia Yim versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title at Emergence. So we've got our first big title match at Emergence. I'm looking forward to that one. That should be a great match, great main event here. We've got our really good next week looks amazing. So let me run down that card again. It'll be Chelsea Green versus Mickie James, everyone banned from ringside. It'll be Macklin versus Storm. That whole thing with Storm looked like Storm was gonna. It looked like Storm was up to no good kind of thing. It looked like there was something shady going on. So there might be some good storylines coming out of this. And remember, we did not see Sami Callihan or Moose tonight. So I expect we'll see them next week. Also next week, Masha Slamovich said she will end the life of Tenille, and they have a match next week. That'll be interesting to see where that story goes. The main event will be the Honor No More versus Bullet Club tag match. I'm not quite sure who we'll see in that, but potentially we could see the end of the PCO, maybe even Vincent too being members of Honor No More. Maybe even can you imagine? Can you imagine PCO in the Bullet Club? I think that should happen for sure. PCO would be a huge hit in Japan, and there's a lot. Japan has a lot of guys around PCO's age where those matches would be hilarious. So oh man, if we can get PCO in the Bullet Club next week, that would be awesome. But starting out next week's, it'll be Violent by Design versus Josh Alexander and the Motor City Machine Guns. That's going to be the first match. That's going to be a good one. Again, we don't know quite what's going on with Eric Young and the rest of Violent by Design. We could see a turn there. We could see new members of Violent by Design. We don't know what could happen. So a lot of questions up in the air. And don't forget, within all of that I just mentioned, there's going to be spliced a bunch of segments of Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary going into the Nether Realm. So I'm looking forward to next week. So thanks for tuning in. I will be back next week for sure, and I'll let you guys know all about it, and I'll watch BTI just in case there's anything cool on there to let you know about. So thanks for tuning in, and hit me a subscribe and a like up. I cover all kinds of I do MLW, NWA, New Japan, all the WWE and AEW stuff. So I'm trying to get this channel growing. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one. Peace.